Hello and welcome to our first of 4 live streams celebrating Global Accessibility Awareness Day. My name's Jess and I'm part of the Discovery team here at 3UK, and my team's job is to promote the benefits of mobile technology and help everybody to learn essential digital skills. We do that in lots of different ways, and just one of them is here on YouTube. So if you were to check out the Discovery playlist here on the 3UK channel, you'll see lots of helpful how-to videos to inspire you to get more from your tech. And today we are going to be live throughout the day, showing off some handset features and apps that help to make mobile technology accessible to all. So to celebrate the 10th annual Global Accessibility Awareness Day, we're going to be starting off this morning with a demo of some device settings on both iOS and Android phones that are aimed at those who have vision-related accessibility needs. So if you or anybody that you know could benefit from making their phone easier to use in that way, then stay tuned for the next half hour, and I'll be covering lots of different things in both an iPhone and a Samsung phone. So if you have any questions throughout the session, you can pop them into the little box on the right hand side. So let me just tell you what else is coming up today. The next stream after this one will be at 11 AM. That one is going to be all around hearing needs, and that will be followed by a 12 o'clock stream on dexterity and other physical related accessibility needs. And our last stream of the day will be at 1 o'clock. That's with Ali from our 3 Live team, and she will be featuring some great app recommendations for anybody that might have some additional cognitive needs like depression or autism spectrum disorder or ADHD, for example. So there is lots and lots that we're going to cover today, and we hope that these are going to be super helpful to anybody that is celebrating Global Accessibility Awareness Day today and would like to learn more about how your phone can help you with that. But if you can't stick around and you do miss any of the streams, you'll be able to catch up. They will all be saved onto our Discovery playlist here on the 3UK channel. So I'm going to jump in just a second. As I said, I'm going to be demoing today with 2 different devices, one being an iPhone, the other one being a Samsung phone, to show you how things work on Android. So first thing that I'm going to be covering is some different settings that can help you with the the display of your phone itself. So I'm going to begin with the iPhone. Let's pop that one over there. So if we go first into our iPhone settings, which are just here, and then we scroll down through the menu until we find accessibility. There we go. So the accessibility menu is split up into little sections, 4 different needs, as you can see there. And the ones that we're looking at this morning are all here in the vision section. So first of all, let me pop into display and text size. There are lots of things here that they're just super easy to switch on or switch off. So you've got things like bold text, for example. You can see that kind of helps everything to stand out a little more on screen. We can also go here into larger text. So if you do struggle sometimes reading, the very small writing on your phone, make it a little bigger. So I'm going to just take that all the way up to the top of the scale here, so that it's going to be nice and large and clear for the rest of my demo. Then if I go back, like I say, there's other bits here that if they'll be helpful for you, it's just a case of flicking a button and you switch them on, things like increasing contrast and so on. And another one down here that's pretty cool is the color filters. So if I tap here and I switch those on,
I've got some different choices here. First of all, I could put my phone into grayscale, or there are some different filters that are specifically designed for these kind of specific vision related conditions. So those are pretty cool. Now, there's one other one that I'm going to show you which actually lives outside of the accessibility menu. So if I take a step back to my general settings and we go here to display and brightness, down at the bottom here there is an option called display zoom, and this allows you to just switch the display of your phone into like a larger version. So it shows you some examples here of what's going to change, things like your notification bars, your iMessages, for example, and your apps. So let's go ahead and select that, and then if I press set at the top here, it will just reset itself for a second. And while I'm waiting for it to do that, let's there we go, it's finished. So if I go back to my home page here, everything looks a little bigger, which is very useful. Okay, so let's take a look at the Android. Let's turn him over. Now, once again, we will be starting by going to the settings menu. And we're going to find pretty much some entirely equivalent settings if we scroll down here to accessibility. So don't forget, guys, if you are following along and you have missed anything, you can watch all of these back on the 3UK YouTube channel. But just like with the iPhone, all the different needs are arranged into their little sections. We're going to go here into visibility enhancements, and it's laid out really very similar to what we saw a second ago with the other phone. We have got things that we can just simply switch on and off if we think that they'll be useful. And then right down at the bottom here we have got font size and style. So I have bold font switched on already, which is great. And then again, I can take this circle all the way to the top of the scale and make the text super large and easy for me to read. There are colour correction options here too, just like we had on the iPhone for the same vision related conditions there. So lots of different options there, just to kind of help you with the the general look and feel of your phone's display, and those will be really useful. But of course, that's not all you have in terms of options. There are lots more things that we're going to have a look at. So, for example, even with the larger text and the bolder text, you might sometimes, just still find that things are too small to really see or to read. So there are a couple of settings that I'm going to show you next, which are entirely the same, but they have a different name on the Apple versus the Android. So what we'll be looking at is what's called Zoom on an iPhone, which is equivalent to Magnifier on the Android. There is a magnifier on the iPhone as well, but it does something completely different. And it sounds confusing, but don't worry, we're going to go through it just now. So, I think let's start with the iPhone again. I'm going to pop into settings, take a couple of steps back because I'm still in my display settings. Let's go to the accessibility menu. And this is the one that we are looking for next. It's the zoom. Now, I've already got it switched on, which is great, but if you haven't, it is just a switch here. Just switch it. Oops. Oh dear. So I've already got it switched on, which is perfect. So, a great way to show this off is if I go back to my home screen. What we do is we tap 3 times onto the screen. Whoops, there it is, and we get this kind of I guess it's kind of like a magnifying glass that's on your phone. You use the handle down here to drag it around, and you can see it is zooming in super close to whatever I have taken it over. So if there's a particular app that you're looking for and you just can't find it, use 3 fingers, tap 3 times, and you get your zoom options here. You can adjust how closely that window will zoom in just there. You can resize it if it's a little too big. And if you tap here where it says choose region, you can switch between just this one section where it's zoomed in or a full screen. So as well as using it to look for an app, let me just zoom out for a sec, you might also use it to perhaps to read a message. So if I open this message here, get my little zoom lens, I could drag it over the message like this, so it's a lot easier for me to read. And zoom out. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the Samsung. And like I said, the setting that we've got on here is very much the same. It's under Visibility Enhancements, but it's not called Zoom, it's called Magnifier. And the 2 options that we had on the iPhone were the window or the full screen. And these are just set out into 2 different settings here. You've got Magnify Window or Magnification. Now, once this is switched on, and in fact, once you switch on any of the accessibility features in an Android phone, it automatically gives you, I don't know if you can see, this tiny little man down in the corner there. That's your accessibility shortcut. So any settings that you've enabled, they are automatically then popped into this little guy right here. So I've got them both switched on now, both the window and the full screen magnifier. So let's pop back to the home page. I'm going to tap on this small man, and here we go. These are the settings that I've switched on. So let's start with the window. You can see it just looks entirely similar to the iPhone one, but how we interact with it is a little different. So on my iPhone, I only needed 1 finger to move the magnified window around. Just use 2 fingers to navigate around with this one. And then to switch it off, just return to the shortcut down here and give it a little tap and it will disappear. And then when we go back into here and we use the Magnification Tool, this is actually just automatically selected the whole screen. There's an orange border around it. And I just need to put my finger anywhere that I would like to zoom into. So, I mean, really, these work in very, very similar ways. I guess the best thing to do would be to have a little bit of a practice with them and see which one feels easier to you. Now, I'm going to just come back to my iPhone because, as I mentioned, there is a setting on the iPhone called Magnifier, but it is a little different to what we have just looked at. So the zoom is the one we've just seen a second ago. If we go to the iPhone Magnifier and switch it on, what it does is it has automatically added an app into my utilities folder called Magnifier. And if we open it up, what it does, there's not anything super exciting that I can show you here, but it allows you to use your phone's camera kind of like a physical magnifying glass. So this would be really cool, you know, if you had maybe like a medicine bottle or a food packet or something that you want to see up, you know, real close, but you can't quite read what's on there. So hopefully, again, that one is really useful. Now, what we've kind of covered so far is how we can change the way that we see things on our phone, whether it's to zoom in or to adjust the display. However, we can go one step further than that. If you are somebody who really struggles to see visually what's on your phone, you have another option, which is to have your phone speak to you and tell you what's on the screen. So, just like with the Zoom and the Magnifier, this has a different name across the different operating systems. So it's called Voiceover on iPhone, and it's called Talkback on Android. So I'm going to show this to you now and show you how it works. So we'll start with the iPhone again. We're going to pop into Settings. Here in the Accessibility menu, this is what we are looking for just here, Voiceover. Now, I have used this before, so when I switch it on, it comes on right away. But if this is going to be your first time using it, just give it a couple of minutes to download the content and the voice onto your phone before you can get going with it. What I would recommend is also just kind of going through some additional settings before you switch on the voiceover, because what you're going to see in a moment is that as soon as it's switched on, it will affect the way that we interact with our screen. So where we might have just pressed once to do something before, or just, easily swiped up or down or left or right, the sort of gestures that we're going to use are going to become slightly different. So to make things super simple, let's figure out some of the settings first before we get going with it. So first of all, if we go into speech, you can choose a different voice for your voiceover if you would like to. The default is a person called Daniel with a British voice. So you can pick a different accent altogether from a different part of the world, but if you're happy with Daniel, you can stick with him. You can add some particular pronunciations to the voiceover. So if perhaps you have a contact in your phone who has an unusual name and you find that Daniel keeps pronouncing it wrong, you can add your own pronunciations and record your voice saying that word or that name so that he knows how to get it right. You can adjust the speaking rate as well, depending on how slow or how fast you'd like him to speak. And if you go here into voiceover recognition, I would recommend just switching all of these options on. Particularly the image descriptions are really useful. If somebody sends you a picture, or there's a picture in a news article that you're reading and you can't quite see it, having this switched on will just mean that you can tap it and VoiceOver will describe it to you. Okay, so if we're all set, I am going to go ahead and switch this on. And now what you're going to notice is that every time I tap on something, VoiceOver is going to describe it or read it to me. So for example, if I was to tap here, or here,
double tap to activate the selected item.
So he's just reading that out to me. If I tap on something that has an action to it, such as, let's go for this.
Speech button.
Oh, he normally says double tap to open, but he's not told you, so I'll just tell you instead.
Accessibility. Back button.
Anything that you want to select, just tap it once for him to describe it, and then tap it twice.
Accessible.
And there we go, he's gone back. Now, if your iPhone or your iPad is like mine and it doesn't have a home button, you usually just do a quick swipe from the bottom to return to your home screen. However, the swipe that you're going to do to get back, it just needs to be a little slower and more deliberate. So,
Spoken, display and text size button.
I've not done it right, let's try again.
Setting.
There we go. So I'm back to my home screen now. When you know that you've kind of swiped slowly and deliberately enough, you'll feel a little like a haptic vibration. So that's that done. Now I can tap on any of my apps and he'll tell me what they are.
BBC weather. Double tap to open. Calendar. Thursday the 20th of May. Double tap to open.
So let's open my calendar. And
Calendar 2021. Back button.
let's select a day.
Sunday the 30th of May. Sunday the 30th of May. 0000 hours.
Okay. Now,
Use the rotor to access events.
okay. So we have to use 3 fingers now to scroll
30,
or swipe.
to 20. Blue text on a blue background. Hicks family lunch. The boot. England.
There we go. So he's just described to me what that is in my calendar, so just in case I couldn't see it. Let's pop back again to my home screen. Remember to use 3 fingers for any swiping or scrolling.
Page 2 of 2. App Store. Double tap to open.
So I'm now going to go into here and have him describe a picture for me. So tap once.
Photography folder. 7 apps. Double tap to open.
Okay.
Opening photography folder. Photography. Heading.
I'm going to open.
Tap and hold to start edit mode.
Okay. I'm going to open my photos. So 1.
Photos. Double tap to open. Photos. Add. Recents. Free recents. Photo.
Here we go.
Photo. Recents. Back button.
Okay, so I've opened up a photo and I'm just going to tap on it to have him describe the content to me.
Photo. The 19th of December, 2020. Actions available. 2 people wearing formal clothing and standing in front of a decorated Christmas tree. 2 people wearing formal clothing and standing in front of a decorated Christmas tree.
There we go. And he always reads it out twice just in case you didn't catch it the first time. Okie dokie. So I'm hoping that that is a very good...
Closing photography folder.
Okay.
App Store. Home. Page 1 of 2. Settings.
Settings. I'm going to pop in here now and turn voiceover off, and then we'll quickly have a look at the talkback on the Samsung. So,
settings.
Okay, voiceover.
Up. Button. Voiceover. Up. Double tap to toggle setting. Voiceover. Up. Voiceover off.
There we go. Okay, let's have a quick look at the equivalent on the Samsung. So into settings and into accessibility. Here we have Talkback. It's entirely the same. It can do pretty much everything that VoiceOver can. It's just called something different. So once again, we switch it on here. It will just give you a little bit of a heads up about what's about to change. You can tap on Allow.
Talkback on. Talkback. Navigate up. Button. Double tap to activate. Double tap and hold to long press.
There we go. So you can see, just like with the iPhone, you tap on things once and it will describe them. And if it's something that you can select or press or use, it will tell you to tap twice to do that. Now, the only thing that's slightly different is where we had to use 3 fingers on the iPhone for scrolling or swiping. We use 2 here on the Samsung. And then if we just select something.
Talkback is on. It provides spoken feedback so that you can use your device without looking at the screen. Talkback is intended for situations or people who have difficulty seeing the screen.
Okay.
How to use
right, I'm going to tap here.
On. Switch out of list.
And
turn off talkback. Cancel button. Turn off button.
There we go. We'll turn that off. Okie dokie. Now, the voiceover option and the talkback option, as you've seen, is great for, you know, if even after trying some of the other settings, you just really still need help to see what's on your phone. But there is also an app that I want to just quickly tell you about, which is great for, you know, not just being able to see things on your phone, but if you are someone who's blind or, you know, very partially sighted, and you actually need assistance to see something around the house or even out and about in the streets, there is an app that you can get called Be My Eyes. It's an app that I've used not as a user but as a volunteer, and it's great. So I'll quickly show you how it works, both as a volunteer and as a user. So this is what the app looks like. So the top right hand corner there of my iPhone, and just in the top left of the Samsung. So when you download it for the first time, there's some steps that I have already been through on the phone to set it up, but it will just ask you for, you know, things that you would expect when signing up to an app, things like name, email address, and so on. So once you have done that, it is literally just a case of tapping this very large button to call the first available volunteer. Now, then what happens to somebody who's a volunteer on the app, they'll receive a phone call and they'll answer it, and they will kind of automatically see video of you, and you can kind of hold something up to the camera and have them explain to you what it is. So generally, I think that calls get answered extremely quickly because there's a very high number of volunteers compared to users. So there's actually nearly 5 million volunteers that use Be My Eyes, and about 305,000 users. So that's great. It means that you should always get a quick response. And as a volunteer, the kind of calls that I've had are things like, so I've had like somebody show me something on their computer and say, you know, what does this say? Household items, like somebody wanted me to tell them like what a spray can was, like is it a bathroom cleaner or an air freshener or something. So just simple things like that. I even had a call once from somebody in America who was outside looking for his Uber and he couldn't see it. So that's the kind of thing that you can use the app for. It's free to get, and it can be really super helpful. So the very, very last thing that I'm going to super quickly show you, and just once again, if you have missed anything that I've covered so far, don't worry, because you can catch up on all of these streams. But one quick thing that I just want to show you is your accessibility shortcuts on both devices. So hopefully you're familiar on your iPhone with the control center, and if you're not, that is what you see when on a newer model of iPhone you swipe down from the top right hand corner, you see all these shortcuts, or on slightly older handsets you swipe up from the bottom and see the same thing. Now in our settings, we can go into the control center option in the settings, and down here you can add the option for accessibility shortcuts. So you can go ahead and add that first. Then if you take a step back and return to your accessibility settings, go all the way to the very bottom of the menu here where it says accessibility shortcut, and then whichever settings you've discovered that are really useful for you, that you want to have easy access to switch on and off, you can just go ahead and select them, give them a tick, and they will then be included in your accessibility shortcut when you select it from the control center. And then really similar with the Android, this one, as I mentioned earlier, is really helpful. As soon as you enable anything from the accessibility menu, you get the little shortcut that comes up here at the bottom. But really similar, if we go into the accessibility settings, and then we go into the advanced settings, here under accessibility button, really similar, just go through and select the ones that you would like to have included. Okay, so guys, thank you so much for watching today. This has been a short demo of just some helpful device settings that are designed to hopefully make life easier for those that have vision-related accessibility needs. If you have missed it and you want to catch up, just come back to the 3UK YouTube channel anytime, and have a look at the Discovery playlist, and you will find that on there, as well as the other 3 streams that we're going to be doing today. So 12 o'clock we've got the hearing needs, no sorry that's not correct, 11 o'clock we've got the hearing needs, 12 o'clock we've got physical needs and cognitive needs at 1 PM. So this is to celebrate the 10th Annual Global Accessibility Awareness Day, which is today. So you know, if you are celebrating, then we would love to have you tune in and send in any questions that you have. My name's Jess. I'm from the Discovery team here at Free UK. If you found this useful and you want to carry on learning and discovering more about your device, you can do that with us. So every single weekday, myself and the rest of the team, we provide free discovery workshops. They are on Zoom for now. They're virtual, so you can join from wherever you are. And we'll put a link in the description of this stream, so that you can go ahead and book something on our website. So, guys, once again, thank you so much for watching. We will be back in half an hour with our hearing needs stream. See you later.